The baby wouldn't stop crying. Enna shifted 8-month-old Bella to her other hip, bouncing gently as she juggled her boarding pass, diaper bag, and what little remained of her sanity. The Seattle airport terminal buzzed with delayed passengers, but all Enna could hear was Bella's piercing wails echoing off the glass walls. "Shh, baby girl," she whispered, exhaustion making her voice catch in her throat. "Just a little longer. We're almost free. Free." The word tasted foreign on her tongue after 23 years under PAP control, being told when to eat, when to sleep, when to breathe. But freedom came at a price. Every dollar scraped together from working 3 jobs. Every sleepless night spent planning their escape. Every moment of the past 36 hours when she forced herself to stay awake and keep moving. The gate attendant's voice crackled over the intercom. "Final boarding call for flight 447 to Denver." And his heart hammered against her ribs. This is it. Once they boarded, there'd be no going back. Alpha Marcus would never forgive her for running or for taking what he considered his property. But she'd rather die than let him sell her to the highest bidder. She stumbled toward the gate, Bella's cries growing louder. Impatient glances flicked her way, but Enna kept her head down. In a few hours, they'd be in Denver. In a few hours, she'd figure out what came next. The plane was nearly empty, a blessing from storm delays that scattered travelers across the country. Enna found her seat in the middle section, grateful for space. Maybe she could finally rest. "Excuse me." The voice was deep, smooth, and sent an unexpected shiver down her spine. She looked up to find a man settling into the seat beside her, despite the dozen empty rows ahead. Tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a charcoal suit. That probably cost more than she made in months. Dark hair, sharp jawline, eyes the color of whiskey. Alpha. Recognition slammed into her like a physical blow. His scent surrounded her. Expensive cologne mixed with something indefinably dangerous that made her Omega instincts scream both warning and desire. "I'm sorry," she blurted, pulling Bella closer. "I can move if you need." "No need." He buckled his seatbelt with practiced ease, those amber eyes never leaving her face. "Rough night." Enna let out a brittle laugh. "You could say that." Bella chose that moment to unleash an ear-splitting cry. The stranger glanced at the baby, then back at Enna. Something shifted in his expression. Without a word, he reached into his jacket and produced a small leather notebook. "May I?" He silently offered it to Bella, who immediately stopped crying to reach for the intriguing new object. "Oh, you don't have to." He just smiled faintly. "I don't use it anyway." Bella grabbed the notebook with both hands, promptly trying to chew on a corner. The blessed silence that followed was worth whatever expensive item she was now drooling on. "Thank you," Enna breathed. "I'm Romeo," he said, "and this is Bella. My name's Enna." Her arms ached, but she didn't dare move Bella now. Her baby was quiet, and they were finally in the air. "You're beautiful," Romeo said softly. "How old?" 8 months. Her arms were on fire, but she didn't dare put Bella down. The baby seemed calm, for now, but that could change in an instant. "Long journey ahead," Romeo added. Something in his voice made Enna glance at him sharply. "Not too long." He clarified. She wasn't about to tell a stranger, Alpha, her plans, even if he'd helped soothe Bella. Romeo nodded, seemingly satisfied with that vague response. Storms supposed to clear by morning should be smooth flying. The engines hummed beneath them as they climbed into the sky. Enna stared out the window, watching Seattle shrink beneath the clouds. She was really doing this. Her eyes grew heavy despite every effort to stay alert. The adrenaline that had fueled her for days was finally fading, and the steady hum of the engines felt soothing. Bella had fallen asleep against her chest, tiny fingers still clutching Romeo's leather notebook. "You should rest," Romeo said softly. "I'll keep an eye on her." "I can't," Enna whispered, panicked. "I don't sleep around strangers. It's not safe." He didn't flinch. "I understand, but you're exhausted. When did you last sleep?" Enna didn't know. The days had blurred into work, planning, terror. "I'm fine." "You're not fine. You're dead on your feet." He pressed the call button. When the flight attendant appeared, he asked for a blanket. "Let me help." The blanket was soft and warm. When he draped it over her shoulders, she caught another intoxicating whiff of his scent. It should have terrified her, but instead made her feel safe. "I really shouldn't," she murmured, but her eyes were already drifting closed. "Just for a little while," he said. "I promise nothing will happen to either of you." That promise did it, not because she believed him, she barely knew him, but because she wanted to believe. She let herself lean sideways, her head resting against something solid and warm, Romeo's shoulder. She should pull away, maintain distance, but exhaustion was stronger than fear. "Sleep," he said quietly. "I've got you both." The last thing she remembered was her head against his shoulder, heart slowing, and his hands resting on Bella's back in an unspoken shield of protection. Enna's legs felt like jelly as she stepped off the plane in Portland. Bella fussed once again in her arms, clinging to the stuffed dragon she refused to let go, not even for a second. While other passengers collected their bags and headed into the night, Enna barely noticed the unfamiliar city lights stretching beyond the terminal windows. Romeo moved beside her, his presence steady, guiding. The driver, towering and composed, opened the door. "Thank you," Enna whispered, voice tight with gratitude and fear, as she lifted Bella into the car. He introduced himself as James. "Good evening, Mr. Cross," the doorman greeted, as Romeo guided her into a towering high-rise. The entrance was pristine, luxurious, but every fashionably minimal line of its marble lobby pressed home how out of place Enna felt. When the elevator chimed open on the penthouse level, Enna stepped into a world that would have belonged in a magazine. Floor-to-ceiling windows looked out over the city. Furniture was spare, but high design, polished to perfection. No personal artifacts, no warmth, just controlled elegance. A beauty that whispered privilege and distance. "It's lovely," she murmured, though the space felt more showroom than home. "Thank you." Romeo shrugged out of his suit jacket, picking a sleek leather chair before draping the jacket behind it. "Would you like something to eat?" "I can have anything sent up." Enna shook her head. She wasn't hungry, but the weight of debt, spatial, emotional, kept pressing in. "Could I use your bathroom just to change Bella?" "Of course," he pointed down the hallway. "Second door on the right, towels in the cabinet if you need them." The bathroom was grander than her entire Seattle apartment. Marble sinks, gold handles, oversized tiles. As she laid Bella on the counter for a diaper change, she had to swallow back tears of disbelief. She was trapped between gratitude and growing alarm, and already indebted. She returned to the living room to find Romeo standing by the windows, glass of whiskey in hand, watching city lights pulse below. "Better?" he asked. She nodded. "Yes, thank you," though she wasn't. Safe, hungry, terrified, all tangled at once. He waved toward a muted TV on the wall. News images flickered to life. Footage of a distraught woman and baby boarding a Seattle flight. The caption read, "Missing Omega Child." Enna's breath caught. The image mirrored her. Romeo switched channels. Now there was Alpha Marcus at the Seattle airport. Composed outrage and righteous anger. Screen text. Pack seeks return of Omega and child. Urges protection for young woman. The reporter's voice droned on. "It's been about an hour since takeoff. Her pack is very concerned about her welfare. Zara and Bella must return under their pack's protection," the voice said. She tightened her grip on Bella. "Turn it off," she whispered. Of course. Romeo complied, silence falling like weight. But the damage was done. They'd found her. Already. And she'd been vulnerable, trusting a stranger in the air in all the worst ways. "How did they find me?" Romeo didn't hesitate. "Credit card. Every purchase you made. Parking, coffee, magazine subscription. Registered in real time. They had people at the airport within hours." He paused. "But I paid cash for the ticket." "Yes," she said numbly. "But you used a card later." He watched her carefully. "Yes," he agreed. "They tracked you through it." Tears came fast then. Anger, fear, regret. Every precaution felt meaningless. Every choice betrayed. "They won't find me here," Romeo said, voice firm. "I can't sleep," she whispered. "You will," he promised. "Rest now." And though he didn't move closer, his scent, the faint warmth beneath it, offered the illusion of safety. His phone buzzed. He glanced down, then said, "Vincent, secure the few nearby credit lines and accounts connected to Knox Patterson. We don't need more eyes on us." When he looked back up, something softer flickered in his gaze as he offered, "Let me help." She wanted to cling to independence, hold tight to her right to make decisions. But Bella in her arms, city lights beyond golden glass, fear humming low in her bones. She surrendered. "Okay," she whispered, "just for tonight." And so began her stay in the penthouse, safe, luxurious, isolating, and quietly imprisoning. Romeo's home was a fortress, but she understood that the cost of help would be measured in layers of control she had never allowed, until survival demanded it. Meanwhile, downstairs, a world breathed and moved, lived and laughed. "That way," Romeo said, offering her his arm as they passed through mirrored doors. "Let me show you." He led her into an elevator that descended far below the penthouse into another world. Walls sheathed in exposed brick, warm lighting, voices drifting softly. Here, space felt lived in, human rather than curated. Through an open door, she glimpsed a woman reading to children. Laughter floated from another room as about a dozen youngsters in mismatched clothes played at a communal table. It felt like hope. "I'd like you to meet Enna and Bella," Romeo told the woman. The older woman smiled, silver-streaked hair framing kind features. "Welcome," she said warmly. "I'm Elena. I help run things here." Enna exhaled, a fragile laugh escaping. "Home." Elena squeezed her shoulder. "Yes, dear. Home." They moved through corridors, Elena chatting softly, introducing other residents, offering reassurance and coffee and exercise routines. When they reached Romeo's lower-level office, he paused before pressing his palm to a scanner. The door opened, revealing an office paneled with photos of women and children. Some eager smiles, others more tentative. "That's Anna," Romeo said quietly, pointing to one photograph of a young woman holding a baby. Bella's baby. Anna was in her early 20s in the image, smiling, holding what looked like a version of Bella. "She died," Romeo explained, voice tight. "Taken by the same pack that you ran from. That baby is your daughter's friend. I've spent years tracking them to make sure no one else suffers the same fate." Anna stared, horror and recognition colliding. "In the meantime," Romeo continued, "when I realized what your abilities were, your ability to detect lies, my mission became twofold." He watched her as he spoke, eyes filled with older grief, deadly resolve. "You will help me expose them, destroy them, but you don't have to do it alone." She looked down at Bella, who sucked a thumb through droopy eyelids, and then back to Romeo with something she hadn't felt in years, a flicker of hope. Enna woke to morning light slanting through the high-rise's penthouse windows, soft and slow. Bella lay asleep. For a moment, Enna was disoriented, floating between memory and reality. Then she remembered. Portland, Romeo, sanctuary. As Romeo entered the room, well-dressed as always, Enna hurried to her feet. He crossed the space with careful steps, arms extended to reclaim Bella. The baby stirred, blinked up at him, and reached out wordlessly for Romeo's wrist. "She sang Da," Enna whispered, voice trembling. Romeo's hands lingered over Bella, as though reluctant to let go. "She said Da," he confirmed. "That changed everything, didn't it?" Enna nodded, feeling a rush of warmth, a bond she had not insisted upon, but could neither deny nor ignore. Downstairs, the sanctuary hummed to life. Elena guided Enna through areas of organized chaos, turned hopeful refuge. A communal "This is where we rebuild," Elena said gently, day by day. Enna watched a young mother soothe a toddler back to sleep, comforting scenes spun from trauma and transformation. She thought of the sterile penthouse above, a fortress. But here below, warmth, authenticity, healing. They paused at Romeo's office door. Elena waited, soft smile, steady. "He looks after the numbers," Elena said. "But what matters most, what he built down here, is community." Inside the office, walls were covered with faces, photographs of survivors whose lives had been reclaimed. She saw Anna holding Bella in happier times, a ghost that anchored this entire mission. Romeo's voice, quiet as he closed the door. "We bring them to safety. but I keep them safe. Enna turned slowly, tears in her eyes. You saved her, she said. No, he replied immediately. You did. For a moment, the space crackled with meaning and unspoken debt. Then, Romeo reached for Enna's hand, silent but offering. Enna woke in the penthouse to an unsettling silence. The air felt thicker tonight, charged with anticipation and dread. Bella lay asleep beside her, tucked in and peaceful, but Enna's mind buzzed with questions. She rose quietly, smoothing the duvet before tiptoeing toward the living area. The penthouse looked unaltered, but something had shifted. Despite the luxury and space, the whole place felt like a gilded cage. The signal-blocking technology, the cameras in the corners, the locked balcony. They were all reminders of how carefully Romeo monitored her world. The soft city lights beyond the windows seemed far away tonight, distant and unreachable. Romeo, she called softly. He emerged from his office, phone in hand, eyes shadowed. Enna watched as he hung up and met her gaze. She could sense something on the edge of his controlled composure. Enna, he began, voice tense. There's a complication. Her stomach dropped. What kind of complication? He hesitated. A man is downstairs, claiming to have legal rights to you and Bella. He says you are his mated Omega. Bella is his heir. He has documentation. Enna's head spun. She gripped Bella tighter. That's impossible. It was a private ceremony 6 months ago. He has marriage certificates and medical records. He claims the child is his. Romeo's words were clipped, the steel beneath them unmistakable. She shook her head, disbelief curdling into fear. That's not true. I've never mated. I don't remember anything like that. I'm sorry, but the documents are official, he said quietly. We need to deal with this, but on my terms. Later that evening, the penthouse atmosphere turned oppressive. The lighting felt colder, shadows lengthening as a tense energy. When the visitor, Knox Patterson, arrived with his entourage, Enna's breath stuttered. He appeared in the doorway, tall, impeccably dressed, silver hair reflecting lamp glow, eyes hard and blue. He introduced himself, Alpha Knox Patterson, and this child is mine. He held out a folder, heavy, meticulously labeled, marriage certificate, witness signatures, medical reports, birth certificate listing him as the father. As he spoke, Enna felt the world shift beneath her. Romeo rose to confront him, the air snapping with unseen electric, alpha versus alpha. Their exchange was cool, professional, layered with dominion and threat. Knox, I've come to collect my family. Romeo, you're mistaken. She's not your mate. Bella is not your daughter. Knox smiled, pulling the documents forward. Documents speak for themselves. This is legal. Knit brows and panic flickered across Enna's face. Her chest tightened, fear and helplessness coiling like smoke. But Romeo stood firm, imposing. I'll fight this in court, he said gently, placing a corner of his palm on her arm. His protective scent, intense and steady, wrapped around her like armor. Energy crackled as both alphas stood their ground. Enna watched the exchange in silence, heart pounding, shivering with dread and awe. Enna's voice was trembling, yet defiant. I won't go with him, she said, chin lifted. I won't leave with him. Knox laughed, throat tight with arrogance. Werewolf law recognizes bonded pairs. That's valid. They faced each other, the tension draining the warmth from the room. Then Romeo cut in. She's with me. That's all that matters. Knox's smile sharpened. We'll see what the port says. Enna realized hope was a lie. The law could accept forged papers. Knox had money, influence, judges on payroll, right? She met Romeo's gaze, fear and resolve glittering behind her eyes. I want to save other Omegas like me, she stated, her voice firm despite the exhaustion. I want to expose the... They reached a silent agreement. Romeo nodded. She would play along, pretend compliant while gathering evidence from within Knox's circle. They established rules and secret signals. Enna was to wear tracking jewelry, conceal reporting devices in her clothes. Romeo's stoic determination became her shield. As the night wore on, Enna lay awake, Bella sleeping on a plush throw beside her. Romeo sat in the armchair across the room, fingers interlaced, profile sharp against city lights. He was capable of turning the world upside down, and he had. She pressed the edge of the newly issued ring around her finger, tracking device concealed within. Accept control now to challenge it later. Hope, fear, and resolve tangled. She closed her eyes, steeling herself. Tomorrow she would step into Knox's world. She would fight from within. The morning air smelled both tense and fragrant. Portland's downtown filtered through tinted limo windows. Enna, dressed in neutral tones, quiet navy, soft gray, stiffened as she realized Romeo's plan was already in motion. She was about to step into enemy territory, faking compliance as an Omega, reclaiming her mate, while listening secretly through the earpiece tucked behind her ear. My nerves scream, she thought, breath tightening at the thought of seeing Knox Patterson again. But we needed this. When they reached the Riverside Hotel, Enna allowed herself a moment to step out of Romeo's protective bubble. Vincent, discreetly in the back seat, gave a small thumbs up. She returned the gesture with a trembling smile. Knox was waiting in the lobby, pale desk lighting highlighting the hard angles of his face. He smiled as Enna approached, sharp, possessive, self-satisfied. There's my good girl, he drawled. His hand touched her waist with enforced familiarity. Enna allowed herself to be guided into the suite. Opulent cream and gold, perfumed with expensive airs. Knox's voice dripped condescension as he led her toward the cream-colored couch. As they sat, Knox's patrons arrived, unsavory men in the room, eyes flicking to Enna's hidden earpiece. Knox outlined his operation with casual arrogance. Our network spans multiple states, with partners in law enforcement, negotiators, clients who pay millions for Omega abilities. Enna's stomach turned cold, but she kept her posture carefully defeated. Inside, Romeo, via hidden earpiece, told her, "Stay subtle. Ask agreed-upon questions only. Gain his trust." At one point, Knox leaned forward and said, "There's a deviant Omega working in a coffee shop downstairs. Pretty, 19, asking too many questions. I want you to befriend her, discover who she's talking to." Enna felt bile rise, but kept her eyes downcast. "Of course," she whispered. "I'll stay silent." Sleep crept toward her, under the velvet lights, but she forced herself to stay alert. ... As Knox detailed movements, potshots, threats, his voice casually laced with violence, Enna tuned in to every word, tagging it in her hidden memory bank. Then came the final blow. Knox laughed, eyes unguarded, and spoke of selling her tonight to a buyer in Vancouver. It was calm, detached, monstrous. Enna's heart pounded, but through the earpiece, Romeo's voice crackled, "Stay calm. Hold." Knox repeated the name, Celeste Ravencroft, Romeo's ex-fiancée, and dropped a bombshell. She'd been monitoring Romeo's communications for weeks. Every whisper, every plan, every misleading soft endearment in Enna's ear. Celeste heard it all. Frozen, Enna felt the room tilt. Fear bloomed inside her chest. But Romeo answered with controlled certainty. Vincent, Omega Protocol, now. Down in the hallway, men in pest control coveralls entered. Equipment oddly heavy, actions too precise. They moved seamlessly into the room and began a soft hiss. Enna's head began spinning. Across the earpiece, Romeo's voice explained. Sleep gas. They go down fast. Knox's men slumped. Knox himself staggered before collapsing. Before she could panic, Rush and hands steady her. Role reversed. Romeo was there, in full control. He steadied her shoulders and whispered, "I've got you." The rescue unfolded around her. Vincent, Team Alpha, Team Beta, moved through halls, secure, cautious, efficient. No brutal force, just overwhelming presence. Enna watched as the whisper of the fake fumigation turned into a real rescue. Cars circling, secured exits, false permits covering every infiltration. It felt bigger than any single plan, almost military. Through the living room window light, she glimpsed vans, unloading what looked like fumigation gear. She recognized them then. Apex Pest Control Services. A grin from the security team, handled as grunt intel, now made sense as encryption. By the time the adrenaline drained from her bones, she sat in Romeo's SUV, Bella in her arms, tiny chest rising as sleep reclaimed her daughter. Romeo sat beside her, quiet but fierce. Knox is neutralized. We're safe. For tonight. Enna's voice trembled. She said da, and she meant it. Romeo's hand found hers, thumb rubbing circles. Relief flickered in his amber eyes. Yes, Bella considers me her da. Enna inhaled, dizziness fading. Their mission was no longer theoretical. It had become flesh and blood. Outside, Portland lights blurred into distance. Inside, Enna understood the gravity. She'd walked into Knox's claws. But more importantly, she'd uncovered that the glowing fumigation gear, the quarantine orders, the permits, they were all orchestrated to conceal her rescue. She leaned her head on Romeo's shoulder, eyes closed, exhaustion blurred with heartbreak and triumph. The truth of everything slammed into her. She was safe, but nothing would ever be the same. Enna woke to soft morning light filtering through sheer curtains. The penthouse felt different now. Quieter, more real. Bella slept nestled at her side, tiny chest rising in steady peace. For a moment, she lay still, her body heavy with exhaustion and the weight of what had happened. Romeo had not yet entered the room, but she sensed his presence. Somewhere beyond the bedroom door, tense and watchful. When he appeared, dressed in a simple shirt and jeans instead of his usual tailored suit, Enna sensed something had changed overnight. Gone was the polished protector. Now in his eyes lay grief, hope, and a careful tenderness. "Good morning," he said softly, voice rough from the previous night's strain. Enna leaned into him, pulling Bella closer. "Is it over?" He nodded gently. "We have a case. Knox Patterson is in custody. Celeste Ravencroft's involvement confirmed. The sanctuary is no longer hidden from law enforcement. Tomorrow, even Knox's hearing will validate what we've uncovered." She closed her eyes, relief mixed with fear, and then awareness settled. "Bella called you Da yesterday." Romeo's hand brushed back her hair. "She means it. Your family." Her breath shuddered. A knot of gratitude, sorrow, and love. We're family. By late afternoon, Enna joined Romeo in his living area to meet Vincent, who presented formal documents and a thick envelope. We ran full DNA tests, Vincent said gently. Confirmed, Bella is Catherine Morrison's daughter. Enna's heart lurched. Tears burned her eyes. Catherine? Romeo echoed, remembering his sister, gone too soon. Catherine's baby. Vincent nodded. Her note with Bella asked someone to keep her safe. That someone was you. He gave Enna a tender look. Your daughter is the legacy of Later, as dusk turned to quiet shadows and Bella bathed in baby quiet, Enna stood near the window. The city lay beneath them, vast, complicated. Yet for the first time, she felt anchored in something deeper than fear. Knox's sentencing hearing loomed tomorrow. Celeste's influence spread wide. Their fight had just begun. When Romeo joined her, silent except for the steady thrum of his presence, Enna placed a hand over his wrist, as if tethering herself to that resolve. They can't hurt other women, she said softly, voice steady. We did this because they couldn't stay hidden forever. Romeo exhaled, gaze sharp but tender. Together, all three of us. In that pledge, they sealed the truth. They were building something enduring. Love born from trauma, strength forged in crisis. That evening in the cozy chaos of the sanctuary's living space below, Enna found Elena, who smiled and clasped her hand. You did it, Elena said. I just want to keep saving them. Bella and I, ours is a future worth defending. They shared tea and quiet stories. Upstairs, Romeo lingered outside the nursery door, listening to Bella babble in her crib. When she called, Dada, he smiled softly, a small, precious affirmation of everything. The council chambers in Portland stood sleek and modern, walls of polished glass and steel that reflected the fading afternoon sun, horizon ablaze in gold and rose. Unlike the Gothic imagery Enna had expected, this place felt corporate, upscale, businesslike. But beneath the surface, tension crackled. It was a courtroom of the elite. Profit, power, and influence cloaked in civility. Enna and Romeo approached the gleaming entrance together. He wore a charcoal suit that looked crisp, even in city heat. She cradled Bella, now older and observant, tucked into a salmon-pink winter coat despite the warmth outside. Her movements were careful, deliberate, calm, facing chaos. Vincent strode at their side, expression hardened. He carried sealed folders, files of Knox's trafficking network, and documents tying Celeste to corrupt council members. Their path felt heavy. Each step placed through public spectacle meant risk. They paused outside a glass door. Inside, a long curved council table sat elevated before a gallery. At one end, Celeste Ravencroft, severe hair, icy eyes, reputation polished. 3 council members in emergency positions sat near her, eyes narrowed with suspicion. Romeo turned to Enna, whispered, "Are you certain?" His amber eyes softened, fear and pride shaking together. She nodded. Yes, I can smell the lies now. The governor of the council, Chairwoman Phillips, called the hearing to order. Her calm voice echoed. The Council of Portland Territorial Authority will now hear Ravencroft versus Cross. Celeste's opening was smooth, deadly. A stack of official documents slid forward as proof. Romeo's jaw tightened. Enna's pulse hammered as the accusations named her. She watched Celeste smile, perfectly poised and terrifying. A predator wrapped in silk. Enna's arms tightened around Bella when Celeste referred to her as Mr. Cross's mated Omega, the phrase stinging. Enna braced, as Celeste spoke of how Mr. Cross manipulated Ms. Rathmore's circumstances and prevented legal reclaiming of her child. Subtle denials and insinuations floated around her, bitterness like ice. Then Bella cried, loud, echoing through marble hallways. The sound shattered something within Enna's chest. Celeste smirked, eyes glinting. Perhaps the child should be removed? It's hardly appropriate in such a setting. Romeo stood, voice firm. She stays. She's evidence. His grip tightened on Enna's arm, protective, unyielding. Disapproving murmurs followed as Bella cried again. Romeo acted swiftly, not with aggression or tone, but with an almost gentle authority. He unknotted his tie, silken and expensive, and handed it to Bella. She paused, sucked on it, quiet. Laughter rippled through the chamber, light, relieving. Yet Enna felt an electric shock. That moment stopped a storm of accusation in its tracks. The baby's utter absorption, comforted by symbolic love, broke the tension. Enna breathed deeply beneath Romeo's careful watch. When the room quieted, Romeo addressed the council with gravitas. "I have done everything Celeste called illegal," he began. "Harboring omegas, preventing reclaiming, eliminating options, but all because she and Bella are worth saving." His confession reverberated, admission of obsession, possessiveness, the consequences of love. That openness seemed to fracture something in the chamber. The council shifted. A few members glanced at each other, fear glinting in their eyes. Truth smelled differently. When Chairwoman Phillips asked if Enna would testify, she stood carefully, Bella held at hip. She inhaled, scanning Celeste's poise and the council's shifting expression. Enna spoke with quiet certainty. "I am here of my own free will. I choose this." She looked at Romeo and then at the council. "Yes, he manipulated circumstances, but he also saved my life. He protected me when I had no one else in the world." She paused, breath steady, then added, "I can detect deception. It's part of me, and I can attest that everything Celeste has said is crafted half-truths. I can smell fear, guilt, and absence of sincerity." One by one, witnesses froze. Council members' composure cracked as Enna called them out. Councilman Morrison took bribes. Councilwoman Davis accepted Celeste's leverage. Another councilman flushed, hands now shaky. As the room's equilibrium collapsed into chaos, Chairwoman Phillips called for order, gaveling the chamber. In the hush that followed, she delivered a verdict. Charges against Romeo Cross are dismissed. A full council investigation into Knox Patterson's trafficking ring is ordered. All references to Celeste Ravencroft's role to be removed, and she is banned from council proceedings pending inquiry. Even as applause began to swell, quiet but unmistakable, Enna felt exhaustion roll through her. She'd spoken truth into power and won. Romeo gathered her into a private embrace afterwards, quiet in a polished hallway. Bella nestled against them, chest rising with soft breaths. Their victory felt brittle, raw. There was relief, for now. Yet they both knew the fight wasn't over. Celeste remained out there, revenge stinging in the air. Knox was imprisoned. Enna watched Romeo cradle their daughter and felt something settle. They had exposed rot at its roots and survived together. She tracked his scent, the steel now softened with pride and promise. She dared to rest, holding Bella close and waiting for tomorrow. Over 3 months had passed since Enna and Romeo reclaimed their lives. The penthouse they once feared had transformed, mirroring their internal change. Baby toys lay scattered among elegant furnishings. Photos lined the mantel, moments of rescue, laughter, and the resilient sanctuary family they built together. Now it truly felt like home. One morning's calm, sunlight danced across polished wood floors as Romeo coaxed Bella into a dinosaur-shaped spoon. "You will eat that puree," he teased in mock sternness. Enna stood in the kitchen doorway, coffee in hand and heart full. Vincent, current operations manager, hovered with news of sanctuary expansion to other cities. A success beyond anything they dared imagine. "I'm now officially co-director," Enna said, voice both proud and amused. Vincent had insisted on waiting until she agreed. "I never disagreed with that," Romeo smiled, wiping puree from his suit sleeve. "You're my equal in everything that matters." Magnetic tension pulsed between them. Love earned through trauma, forged in survival. Their compromise, he protected, she directed. It worked. It was theirs. Vincent outlined reports, Seattle and San Francisco sites thriving. Vancouver soon to open, government interest growing. The FBI had asked Enna to consult on high-profile trafficking cases, but always under her conditions and Romeo's layered security protocols. Enna nodded thoughtfully. "Only on trafficking, no interrogations." Romeo's eyes softened behind his teasing facade. He placed a hand on her arm. "Your choices are honored." Bella looked up from her playpen, focused on an art supply spill that could rival Picasso. She caught Enna's gaze, then announced, pointedly, "Dano, spy on Mama." Enna and Romeo exchanged glances, equal parts shock and affection. "She's inherited your lie radar," Vincent laughed softly. 3 years old, already calling out stealth monitoring. Romeo crossed the room to retrieve the Lego bin Bella had commandeered. Enna's eyes followed him, aware then. She loved this man who could be tender in paint-stained chaos. Later, they sat on the terrace overlooking the twinkling cityscape. Romeo leaned close, voice quiet. "We have one unfinished conversation." Enna pulled the small envelope from her purse, a revised relationship contract. Boundaries she'd helped draft, lines that placed her voice explicitly in protective decisions. He sighed, reading Article 3B. No surveillance without prior consent, or couch time as penalty. He smirked, eyes both amused and reverent. "I memorized it already." She smiled. "Good, for my sleep's sake." They reviewed, co-director or director. She chose co-director with veto power. He nodded. "Sincere respect, shading every feature. You're more than partner, you're family," she said. "Bella agrees," he replied, catching her hand. "Forever." As evening settled, Elena appeared with champagne. She invited them to a rooftop celebration, an early gala for expansion results. Under strings of soft lights, staff and survivors gathered, raising glasses to the future they'd built. Elena gripped Enna's hand. "Look at everything you've done." Enna squeezed back, grateful, overwhelmed. "We all did this." Romeo placed an arm around them both. The final scene closed with them seated beneath starlight. Bella asleep in Romeo's arms, Enna's head resting on his shoulder. A breeze rustled city sounds into the background. Romeo whispered, voice low with affection and certainty, "Whatever comes next, we'll face it together." Enna replied softly, "Forever, as a family." Bella stirred, murmured, "Dama," settling deeper. Their three-way silhouette framed the dream they had built, a sanctuary of flesh and trust born from chaos. Fast forward 6 months. On an airplane, Romeo and Enna sit side by side in the cabin of a sleek private jet. Bella sleeps between them, clutching a plush dragon and chew-proof designer tie. They are en route to Denver for a consultation, a meeting, and a site visit. The city that once symbolized fear is now part of their network of healing. Romeo checks security reports. Enna reviews operational notes. When Bella stirs awake and squeals, "Mama, Dada, happy?" they share a smile across lines of career, devotion, and triumph. In that quiet unity, they embody what they fought for: love, purpose, family, all imperfect, all powerful. They'll do it again if they have to, but for now, together, they're exactly where they belong. If you enjoyed this story, please hit the like button, share it with someone who'd love this, and subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Leave a comment below. You know I love hearing from you.